Hi, friends. Welcome back to Amplifying Authenticity, the podcast where we explore what it really means to lead, live, and build from a place of truth. I'm your host, Megan Fucciarelli, and each week we sit down with leaders who are redefining success by choosing alignment over performance. Today's guest is someone who embodies that shift. Camille Miller is the founder and chief visionary of the Natural Life Business Partnership and the Soul Professional Movement. She's a former nonprofit CEO who now leads a global impact-driven business movement rooted in values, presence, and community. Camille believes something that I absolutely love, that business is an attraction game, not a hunt. That success does not come from chasing, forcing, or pretending, but from showing up fully as who you are and letting alignment do the rest. This episode is about authenticity in business, collaboration over competition, and why the future entrepreneur leads through presence, not performance. Camille, I am so glad you're here. Welcome to Amplifying Authenticity.
Thank you so much, Megan, for having me today.
Absolutely. And I really got excited planning for this podcast because you and I don't know each other very well. We just met, and it just was an instant connection of really understanding how well you align with the idea of authenticity and how much our paths really kind of intertwine. I'd love to start with your journey. You spent years as a nonprofit CEO before stepping into this global community-driven business movement. How did your nonprofit leadership shape the ways you think about business today? And how did it form and help you create what you're doing now?
Yeah, thank you. I've always been someone that was driven by impact, right? And I think that's what led me into the not-for-profit world. And I was always in service to others. My, primary degree was in psychology before I went into the MBA and the business side of it. So it was really about counseling, helping others, impacting the world. So that originated in my not-for-profit world. And what I was doing right before I created this company and this movement was I was a CEO of an organic food organization. And I worked in Washington on our food, the organic label, health and wellness. And it was in that role that I really saw people not fully showing up as themselves. And this was me as well, right? Because we attract exactly who we are in the world. And it was in that role that I was like, wait, I am literally putting on a mask every day to show up as a CEO, but it was in this organic world that all of a sudden I didn't have to wear suits, and I was in bars and barns with an N, and on farms and in food production where I was being more authentic. It took me a while to let go of that professional persona and unmask, but it was also in that role that I met all of these natural healers and light workers and people that even were in professional roles, but were suddenly coming out to me like, oh, I have this other side of me, right? Wall Street people and doctors and very logically brained people, because I'm logically brained, right? Lawyers, whatever they were doing in the world, and coming out with this other side. So when my job was defunded in 2015, I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do next in life where I felt like I had such an impact and such a connection with people. And I was an international speaker with this job, and I've met people all over the world. So it was really impactful for me. So as I was trying to figure out my next steps and looking for clues, I went to a networking event here in New Jersey where I live. And it was at an integrative pharmacy, and a lot of holistic practitioners were there. And I realized they didn't really know each other. And I was like, how do you not know each other? You literally use the same client, right? So, a pharmacist should know a farmer or a nutritionist, right? Or, even a lawyer that's writing contracts can help someone. So it was like, why didn't you all know each other? So it was immediately I had this download of, wait, I need to create something where everyone can start to know each other, because I really did believe that going forward, this new heart-centered world would emerge where we're here to help and serve others. That's it's 10 years later and it's just happening now, but
Right.
that's kind of how it all came together. So I started as a little coffee club, just telling people my idea of creating a professional organization. That's where the Natural Life Business Partnership came from, a professional organization where we can lend credibility to people that were dovetailing who they are with what they do in life. And it became what it is today, the Soul Professional Movement, which that the Soul Professional brand didn't come out until 2020.
Wow.
In 2018, we went to a Zoom model, way before the curve, but we've always been a little bit ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm claircognizant, so I kind of get these knowings ahead of time. So I've always been a little bit ahead, and it was just like when I was trying to teach my community about video, I was like, I know it's coming. I know it doesn't make sense to us, but for some reason we have to move to a Zoom model, right? And lo and behold, why that all happened in 2020. So things like that. So I kind of always knew that there'd be a reason to do it. I just didn't know when.
Right.
And that's really how it came. So it was part of, creating community and nonprofits that blended into who we are today, 10 years later.
There's so many things that you just shared there that I want to dive into. So many pieces. So the first one is one that we talk a lot about within Us Squared. We've talked about it with other guests, but the persona of what it means to be quote unquote professional.
Yeah.
Right. And you knew that was coming, right? Not only because of, like you said, being claircognizant, but also just, I'm sure you hear that a lot about what exactly is professional, whether it's professional attire, professional behavior.
Exactly.
How can you help people embrace who they are without that societal stigma of, is that professional? Should you be doing that? The shame that's associated there.
Yeah. So I went to school in the 80s. I got my MBA in the early 90s. And I believe that time really shaped a lot of what we're supposed to do. Right. And also being a woman, we were living in a masculine world. Right.
Yeah.
So
And we still are in many
we
ways.
still are, but it is changing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And more women are rising and the feminine energy is coming forward. That's how come it's becoming heart-centered and collaborative, right?
Yeah.
But for the longest time, it wasn't. So the mask for most women, the mask was pretending that we're men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Living in their world, which was not natural to us. So a lot of times we went home exhausted, burnt out, and trying to live this life of a woman who's in receiving mode, which was really hard because we were also running our households and raising kids and doing all this stuff and volunteering because the world is run on feminine energy, right? All the goodness in the world. And that eventually crashes, or is in the world, and it is crashing, but it was all about a mask. It really is for men too. And I think the feminine energy, the feminine divine is also showing up in men, right? It like we see that happening. There is a change in all of us that's happening. But we were taught that we had to be a certain way. And I do think that is all breaking down. We very rarely see suits anymore, men or women, right? It's more casual. There still is a dress code. I don't think that's all bad. But authenticity is what is important, and that's what's pulling us forward. So many people have been burned the way we sell all the time, right? And we sold to pain points. And now what people are listening to is the transformation because they've been burned so many times.
Yeah.
Right. So everything is changing and how we perceive things is changing, that we can Google things immediately, that, AI is really taking over and making everybody generic again. So a differentiator matters. And I think in 2026, especially, it's going to be our authenticity, which we've been talking about for years, but I think it's really coming forward in 2026. I think
Absolutely.
that's where we really have to connect with people in a heart way to say, does it resonate in your body? When I teach business, it's how does this feel in your body? Right? Does it feel good?
Yeah.
Because if not, you can't keep showing up that way because we can't attract who we are not.
And that speaks to the point you just spoke of as well, of how sales used to be very much pain point, right? It was pain point marketing, pain point sales, find out what someone's problem is and fix it. And we've always at Us Squared followed a model of aspirational marketing and aspirational sales and looking at the goals and the hopes, right? And we don't sell to anybody. We just help them appreciate the reality that can be, right? Realize their potential, allow them to step into their authentic self, allow them to step into their authentic business model. And I know that you follow a very similar mentality and philosophy. When was that moment that you transitioned, or did you always have that mindset of aspirational, thought producing, motivational sales and marketing?
Always had it.
Yeah.
Always, always. And I mean, there was a time in my life that I was selling real estate, and there was a time in my life where I, managed lots of people. And it was always putting others and holding space, right? And always having people show up who they authentically are it was always part of my management style, was always a part of everything I did. Right. So to me, that's who I naturally was. And I felt like the system didn't really fit me. But I do think that also helped me lead the way I led. Right. I didn't get to a CEO job because I sucked at it.
Right.
Right. But I think that's why not in the not-for-profit world, I did so well, because I hired people that also had a serving nature, but I met them where they were. And I think that was part of my leadership, still is. But it was much different when you were leading in that role than owning your own company. I always hired like displaced mothers that came out of the workforce because they were so loyal, and not-for-profit does not pay well. Everyone in it is underpaid. And it's mostly women, and that's why, right? We're all underpaid. And honoring who they were and what they needed. So if you needed to bring your kid to work or take off, or they needed a sick day, it was just like, I don't care how you do it, as long as your job gets done. And how can I honor you? So, working from home and doing things that today I think is a little more flexible. I was flexible 20 years ago with people that worked for me.
Right.
And I think that's part of authenticity and change. And so I think it's just coming now into the limelight.
Right.
But yeah, it's who I've always been. So I feel like it's really easy to teach for me because I see it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we had very different journeys from what you just shared for myself. I definitely had that mask on for much longer because I felt like it was necessary. And that's what I speak to people about now, is that process of releasing that and allowing yourself to be in that authentic role. I've always been a leader who is very understanding and promoted aspects of everyone who worked with me on the team. At the same time, I continued to wear the mask while I allowed others to take off theirs. I continued to wear the mask. So it wasn't until the last 4 or 5 years, I would say, that I finally said, you know what? I don't need to do that anymore. And I can just be who I am and lean into that. And I've always been promoting that with others, people I work with, my team, et cetera. But for myself, I continued to wear the mask for much longer than I encouraged or asked others on my team to wear the mask.
Yeah, I totally get that, because I feel I did that as well, even though I'm encouraging everyone. It's really, even this last year, 2025, it was really coming out into my spiritual self, which is my whole grounding piece, my grounding rod, right? Is my spiritual self. But I
Right.
have this imposter syndrome of I'm not as spiritual as the people that come to me sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, why are you coming to
Imposter
me?
syndrome is a
Yeah.
killer, right?
Yeah. Especially as you climb. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And using the word soul. So the fact that it's literally in my brand now, I'm like, I got to start using the word.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I'm attracting. So
Right.
I I I feel it's a constant battle, really,
Yeah.
right? Of how I'm showing up. And even this morning, because I'm kind of going through my 2026 and all the stuff I wanted to do this week, is thinking, am I controlling this narrative, or do I need to change my messaging to feel um more what people feel when they go through our programs and or
Mm-hmm.
in our communities, right? And really going into that deep dive of the transformation and
Right.
starting to use the word invite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we invite you to be a part of this, and know it's more for seekers, that not everyone in my community is, advanced awakening. We're all kind of in that awakening, right? Because we're
Right.
all logically brained, and I am as well.
And that's the piece that you speak of quite a bit is business as attraction, right? It's attracting the right person. And when we're authentic, we attract other people who can align with who we are. Because if we're not authentic, then no one knows who our people are. And when you're business owners, you need to know who your people are. And your people need to know that you're their person.
Absolutely. But it's like
Right.
that in all relationships, right? When I
Absolutely.
first divorced, it was my friends that came and said, you're dating your exact same person. That didn't work, right? And I was,
Oh, no. Is that what's happening with me, Camille?
yeah.
I'm
And
just
I was
dating the same
like,
person in a different body? Oh.
yeah. And to me, that was like, oh my God, who am I to attract this in my life? Because I had done enough inner work, right?
Mhm.
That was also 10 years ago. It's about 9 years ago. And then I was like, okay, I have to stop and heal myself first instead
Mm.
of bringing the same thing into my life. So when we're attracting, friends, partners, clients, anybody we're attracting to us, if we're attracting the wrong person, that's on us,
Mhm.
right? There's a reason why we're attracting it. So we really have to look in the mirror. So
Yeah.
business, when we're talking about, magnetic client attraction, it's really about showing up as you want to be, or who you are. I always say, be your future self.
Yep.
Show up as your future self so the right people are attracted to you.
How does that work for someone who might not have ever heard those terms before or is feeling like this is just a little too woo?
Yeah. Try it, for one. And you know what?
Mm.
It's harder than it sounds, right? It's
Yeah.
harder than it sounds to hold this vision. And that's when people say, act as if you already have it. That's really hard, especially when
Oh,
it comes around money, right? If you don't have money and you're in um a scarcity mode, it's really hard to pretend in your head that you have money so you can show up to attract money,
mhm.
right? Or you have clients, right? And you're booked and you're busy, to show up in that energy that you don't need another client, but you'll take them if they want to work with you. To show up in that energy when you don't have any
Yeah.
clients is really difficult. It's
Yeah.
really difficult. And it's keeping yourself in that vibration of
Mm.
abundance. I have it. It's coming. The universe is already giving it to me. It
Yeah.
does sound woo, but like energies attract like energies. So that's also what we have to do. So
Right.
I always teach in my classes, especially around debt and finance, um, that you should never be saying, I don't have the money for that. Instead, just say, I choose to use my money differently.
Mhm.
So, right, if
Yeah.
you choose to pay your electric bill instead of going out with friends, that's a choice. It's a good choice that you made to help with debt, right? I just
Right.
don't choose to spend my money that way. And that's
Right.
way it's not coming from scarcity, it's coming from power, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just changing how you see things.
Yeah.
And we all do
So
it. We do it at every level too.
right. One thing I started doing because my money mindset, when I first started my business, my money mindset was horrible because I came from no money. I was a teacher for many years and we don't make a lot of money. So money was just a very difficult piece for me. My first couple of years, I didn't even break even. If I had a contract and I brought someone else on to do the contract with me, I split it half and half between myself and the other person. I didn't keep anything for operating costs. I didn't keep anything for overhead. I just split it. That was a very large awakening for me in that first couple of years around money mindset. And I started to create some routines for myself. And one of them is a meditation every morning, just before I get to my computer, before I do anything. It's, I deserve all the good things that come to me. And it's not about saying, because I had this mindset that money was bad, that people with money were horrible, that people with money were greedy. I didn't want any of those pieces, but I had to shift that vocabulary in my head. So it was just starting, and it was from someone who just said, "Hey, Megan, have you ever thought about doing a daily meditation or a daily mantra around money or just around good things? Like, I deserve all the good things that come to me, whether it's money, relationships, contracts, it doesn't matter. I deserve all the good things that come to me." That shifted and it didn't feel so lofty, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any rituals or traditions or pieces that you recommend to viewers or to listeners that they could start with?
Yeah. So for me, it's different all of the time, and I change
Okay.
it kind of depending, right?
Yeah.
If I feel like I'm in a slump. But I do have things like I have these little pieces of paper. Like this says day by day in every way, I'm getting better and better. And it
Love
literally
that.
sits right in front of me. And I say it all the time. Like it's just a reminder that, it's like same thing. It's like an affirmation, right? Day
Yeah.
by day in every way, I get better and better. And I have something right in front of me that says, what if it turns out way better than you could have ever imagined? Right? To remind myself,
Yeah.
right? And for me, I have sayings all over the place. I have one that
Yeah.
universe will guide you. I have one that making a life is more than making a living. Like I'm looking at all these things around me. I have
Yeah.
things all around me. That's what helps me.
Yeah.
Other people have to do what helps them. There was a time a year or so in my life where before I got out of bed, I would lay there and say, I forget what exactly I said, but I remember opening my arms and be like, bring all the light and love into me and make this a fabulous day and, and just start my day on a
Yeah.
really good note. But it's constantly reminding yourself when you feel
Mhm.
the energy shift or something go bad or whatever it is to get up again.
Yeah.
And it's
I love that.
okay to have these days that don't work out. Like yesterday, uh, I was exhausted. I didn't shower. I made soup. I watched movies. I actually watched a lot of spiritual stuff. I was in a very spiritual mood. So I honored that.
Yeah.
Right. I listened to a number of podcasts, which I ended up on a Zoom call with spiritual people. Like it just kind of led me in that direction. Right. And
Yeah.
this morning I was like, okay, I got to work today. So it's like, get up, shower, and start your day or get out of the
Mhm.
house, and hiking does it for me.
Okay.
If I have to shift my mindset,
Yeah.
working out does it. Sometimes I have to just get up and go to the gym. Like just get up and move
Okay.
your body. And especially if I'm stuck. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Moving your body moves energy. So that's really important.
Okay.
Uh, um, you know,
And I believe strongly in what you just shared of it's okay to not be okay.
yeah,
And I tell my son that all the time. He's a teenager and teenage years are hard. And I just tell him all the time when he's in a funk, I'm like, it's okay to not be okay. You don't have to say you're okay if you're not. It's okay.
absolutely.
And unfortunately, in our society, we're taught that it's not okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And
It's honoring yourself, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Another one I teach when I teach finance in my business classes is forgiveness. especially for people that are in debt or made bad decisions or whatever it is. It's forgive yourself for wherever you are, whatever decisions you made the best one you could in that moment. Right? You did the best you could in that moment, and just give yourself grace for that. With debt, one of the things I always look at is say, you're paying on the abundance you already received. Right? So every time you pay off debt, just be grateful because you received the abundance in advance, that you were able to do that. I remember one time telling a friend that I moved credit card debt to like a zero balance. And I was like, I can't believe I'm in debt, or like this happened, or whatever it was. And she said, but how thankful are you that you had the credit to do that? Because not everyone can even do that. And I'm like, what a great way to frame that. Right. So a lot of times it's just catching the words that are coming out of our mouths, or framing things a little different, that keeps our vibration up. The slightest thing. I also teach my students about receiving journals, like to capture every day all the things that you receive. Right. It could be a hug. It could be a compliment. It could be a quarter on the ground. It could be anything. Right. A message, a podcast that crossed whatever it is. But when you start to acknowledge all the things that are coming to you that are positive, more positive things come to you, because, your brain recognizes what you're looking for.
I love that. I think that might be something I start. You just gave me our first nugget for the day of something I want to take away and try. Thank you, Camille.
You are welcome.
You talked a little bit earlier. I said at the very beginning, when you did your first intro, there were like 4 points. I was like, ooh, I got to go on that. The next one you said was the idea of collaboration and it not being a competition.
No. There can't be competition, because no two of us are alike in the world. Right?
Why do you think our society makes everything a competition?
Well, that's masculine energy.
Yeah.
And we are leaving masculine energy and we're going into cooperation. That's feminine energy, right? The age of Aquarius. Yeah. So that is shifting.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And no two of us are the same. You and I do similar work, but we probably don't attract the same client.
No.
Right?
Nor is it a good thing that we would. It would be better for us to attract our people. Yeah.
Right. I always tell people, like, I could give you my business plan. You could never be me. You could never have my business. You can't steal it from me. You're not me. Right? It doesn't happen. And I have, the more successful you get, people will see they copy you all the time. Years ago, I literally had someone copy word for word everything off my website and give it a different name. I
was just going to ask you, when was that first moment of copycat? Because I had a moment of copy. I've had a couple, but there was one that was significant. And I actually had to send them a letter because they had taken my name of the company. They had done exactly what I did. And at first I was angry, and then I was sad. And then I was like, oh my gosh, they must really think I do cool stuff. And then I was angry. It was the 12 cycles of everything. And now I'm just like, okay, it's going to happen, because as you continue to become more known for the work you do, it's inevitable.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time. It does not bother me anymore. The first time it happened, I was beside myself, because I was only like 2 years in business at that point, I'm guessing. But I remember it was Easter Sunday, because I was with my family, and somebody sent me something. Did you see this? And every time I released something new, they copied it word for word. Like, it was unbelievable. They're no longer in business, which, makes me smile a little bit. And the reason it doesn't work is because I know this now, right? They were never me. And the funny thing was, after, it didn't take long for me just to be okay with it. Because I saw them making the mistakes that I had already been through. Right? I saw it happening in real time, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to work because of blah, blah, blah. But they
Mhm.
don't know that I shifted that on my side, right? And
Mm.
why things didn't work, right? Or why they
Right.
tried to undercut me. But there's a reason why my price is where it is, because I realized that the lower price didn't bring better people, right?
Yep.
So things like that I can look at. But when you think of it, look at how many doctors come out of medical school, or lawyers come out of law school, or, you know, MBAs come out of MBA school, right? We're not the same.
Mhm.
We're not the same at all. We all have the same education,
Right.
right? We all have the same initials behind our names, but we are not the same person, right?
Right.
Because the way I went through life and gathered my information is different than someone else that went through life and gathered their information, or
Mhm.
how they teach it to others, or how they help or serve is completely different. So I
Absolutely.
don't believe in competition. I believe that there's enough work and support for all of us, and
Mhm.
we're going to see that more and more
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
forward.
Absolutely. You mentioned that Soul Professional is fairly new for you.
Yeah, 5 years.
Okay. How did you know that that was the step that you wanted to take 5 years ago? Was it because of COVID? Was it give us that insight.
That became our trademark, but it's actually I do the exact same work I did 10 years ago. I just didn't
Oh,
have a
okay.
word for it, and it was during
Okay.
COVID that I was doing podcasts and interviewing people. And that was literally a download. I remember the day it came to me. I was sitting at my
Mhm.
desk. I don't have the date, but I literally, it was just like a download of it's the Soul Professional. I was redoing my website, I was
Yeah.
rebranding, and we were literally at the end. At the end,
Mm.
like we were about to launch in 2021, and it was December of 2020, right? And
Mhm.
2020
Right.
was like an unbelievable year for us. We grew, but we almost imploded because I I wasn't ready for what was happening,
Right.
and we were already positioned because we were already on Zoom. We didn't have to pivot, we didn't have to change, we didn't have to do anything. Um, and the name literally just came in one day, but I was so clear that that was the name. I called my trademark attorney and just went, just trademark it. Like I know that that's our word.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the hard part was not using it until we were certain but it took 3 years to get through the patent attorney's office. Oh my God, it was ridiculous.
Wow.
But we had to move, and I was like, I just have to have faith that I'm going to move forward with this,
Right.
you know, and just TM it all over the place. So we did. Um, and that was really the anchor, but nothing actually changed. It is just what
Okay.
we call each other. Like it is just the recognition. Now
Yeah.
we put a movement behind it. There's a pledge behind it. People recognize the word. So it just anchored us in better than the Natural Life Business Partnership,
Right.
which is still the parent company.
Right.
But that's the movement and what we call each other now. So everything with the Soul Professional Business School, you know, and all of my programs are soul.
There are so many parallels that I did not even realize, Camille. So we're doing the same work, but we just trademarked the authenticity amplifier. So I am now the authenticity amplifier, but it was it came. We were looking at rebranding, trying to figure out what that was going to be. And one of our clients actually said, "You just amplify authenticity." And I was like, "Oh. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. And then it spoke to me. It resonated with me. We played around with it a little bit on the team. And the hardest part, like you said, was not sharing any of that until we had it through the system, until we had it trademarked, until it was through the process. And we finally got all the paperwork in, and the lawyer said, okay, it's not finalized yet, but all the paperwork's in. Go ahead and put it out there, put the TM out there. We're good to go. And we tend to do on average one trademark every year, whether it's
We have
for my book, whether it was, it's pretty much one a year we do. So we kind of knew the routine, but this one just felt a little bit more close to home of I have to make sure this stays. Like I have to just trust in the universe that this is what's meant to be. but it was very similar of I felt like it was resonating, but now how do I go about sharing that message without sharing it too early and almost being excited? I felt like a little like a mom on Christmas Day not wanting to like watch their children open the gifts and see the excitement. Like that's what I felt like. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Same.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would love to hear there are some questions that we ask everyone on every podcast that we do. And the first one is I really want to know your why. And I would love our listeners to know a little bit more about your why. Can you share that with us?
So my why is really my mission of I just want to help people bring their gifts to the world because I really believe that we all have our unique genius, right? Our unique gift, and we bring it in our way. And there are people that need it. So if I can help people get their gifts to the world, they will heal and help the people that need them in the world. So it's this
And how do you
ripple
help
effect.
people get their gifts out into the world?
So I teach business, right? A lot of people have gifts of whatever it is, right? Or it's integrating who they are with what they know, right? I'll give you an example. I was working with someone who worked in our FBI who has just stepped down, but he could read Akashic records. And he came to me, he's like, I have plans. He's like, I do not know how to intersect these worlds. Right. And part of it is sitting down with people and just saying, okay, let's assess everything that you know and that you have and where you want to go and what that vision looks like and holding that for them and creating a sustainable business from that. Right. So it's really teaching from concept all the way to launch. How are you going to build a business around this?
Right.
And a lot of times it's integrating. I help a lot of doctors, a lot of educators. We've helped a couple lawyers. Logically brained, soul led. Those are my people. Right.
Okay.
And they're usually in a transition in life. Right. I've done this my whole life, but this is really where I want to go. Right. I have a doctor who's a writing coach, has probably 25 to 30 New York Times best-selling, did it under a pen name. Right? Came to me and just went, how do I integrate these worlds? Right. So it's about integrating worlds. Right.
Okay.
A dean of a school who is a profound medium. How do I integrate these worlds? Yeah. So sometimes people have these incredible gifts like that. Other times they're other gifts. They have intuition. They wouldn't really be attracted to me unless they had some of the clairs. They don't always know it though. But I know when they're attracted to me that they have them. Right? So how do we develop this in a way that feels good? Most of my people are introverts. Not every single one, probably 90% are.
Okay.
Right. And they've been searching for themselves. They walk to a different drum beat. They've been the odd one out. They're a little quirky. Those are my people.
Yeah.
So it's how do we do this? They usually are highly successful in life, some area of life, a sport, in business, some area, musician, some area of life. They've been highly successful, but they just can't bring it all together. And I used to say I work with midlife professionals, but that is getting younger and younger. I have 20 and 30-year-olds contacting me now. So I'm a former MBA professor. So I've taught business. Global strategy was what I taught. So now I do it in a way, I teach my own class. I do it a lot shorter, but it's all about soul and authenticity. We call it authentic success. Right. So it's all about how are you showing up in a way that feels good, resonates with your body, and produces a lot of income. Because I do believe that when you are wealthy, you impact the world.
Absolutely.
Right. So wealth is a part of it. So it's personal growth, it's professional growth, it's financial growth, and how are we pulling them all together? So my signature programs are my business accelerator, which is part of the school. And I have a new one that I just went through beta with. It's called Aligned by Design. It's how are you developing your intuition, how are you expressing your purpose in the world once we find out what it is. How we work with subconscious beliefs, how we intertwine it into a business, how do we bring it forward? And that was the soulful side that came out in 2025 of I need to go deeper because it's becoming more important with the world that we're in today. So I added that. I just beta tested it. It was phenomenal. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. So now I'm actually adding I don't know if it's really a mastermind. I've had a mastermind, but this is a year-long program where we're studying inner work and then how it shows up in outer work. And we have a theme every single month.
Wow.
And that's called my inner circle. And it's just, the inner focus of, if you're seeking, because most of my people are seekers.
Okay.
And then how do we intertwine that with the outer focus, such as like in January, our word is reinvention. So the inner focus would be, who am I becoming next, right? Our future self.
Okay.
So we talk about that and we build that and there's exercises. And then the next time we meet, it's the outer focus. What is my business becoming next? How do we intertwine this? Because of who are you becoming reflects in your business. So now how do we change the strategy of our business and our programs and our packages to do that? And then every month we work through those.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my new inner circle. That's something I'm just launching now because I did this Aligned by Design and I was like, oh, this feels so good. So good.
And that speaks to the purpose of authenticity and alignment, because when you are authentically living and you're aligned with your professional and personal goals and values, these breakthroughs come to you and these new opportunities come to you. And one thing I share quite often is if you follow your passion, everything else will come forward. But you have to be able to truly enjoy and love what you're doing. Maybe not 100% of the time. There are definitely tasks within my business that I wish I didn't have to do. At the same time, I love every moment because I know I'm truly living my purpose. And that's something that I truly want everyone to be able to enjoy. And it sounds like you are impacting so many people on that very level of helping everyone live out their full purpose and to share their gifts with the world.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's
wonderful.
That really is my purpose, is what you've asked, my why, right? And
Yeah.
it's because there are people there that can help other people, right? And if we all lift each other up a little bit, that's how we leave our legacy.
What is one thing that you do on a daily basis to amplify your own authenticity?
I check in with myself all the time. Does this feel right? Does it feel good? Is this how I want to move forward? And I do have this very strong belief that everything is always working out for me, not to me. Everything, even the things that I think are disappointments, are not.
Yeah.
There is nothing that I ever want to take back, that I don't believe that I ever did anything that I wouldn't want to relive, because everything teaches me everything. And it's just reminding myself every day. But I do take quiet time every day and, reflect every day.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Thank you.
I want to close out with a story.
Okay.
Do you have a story that you could share with our audience about a time that you are most proud of your own journey, or maybe someone that you've worked with?
Most proud of? This is a hard one. I didn't know that this was coming. I can't remember like a pinpointed time that just went, that was it. And I'm so proud. I am proud when I look back at what I've developed based on a download. And now I understand it better. And I'm proud that I kept going because I get downloads before the world needs them.
Yeah.
Right. And I do know that now my ability is to see things before I see things that people can't, but I see them way before they're going to happen. So getting these types of downloads, it's, like building this company based on this idea that this was all going to come forward. Right. And just sticking to it. I cannot tell you how many people thought I was crazy. Right. And it was a big turning point in why I divorced. Right. Because I was like, I'm going down this path. I just am.
Right.
And even when the brand of soul professional came to me, it was just an absolute knowing. I have another trademark called 6-Figure Souls that came to me and that became my podcast. It was knowing in 2017 when I heard about this thing called Zoom was to create an entire organization that ran on a Zoom platform, right? Before anyone heard of Zoom.
Right.
Right. And I remember calling my dad, how do I invest in this thing called Zoom? I just think it's going to be really big. So now all of those things, right? Individually, I couldn't see a thing, but now I can look back and go, oh my gosh, I have that gift of foreseeing things. And that's why, like, when I work with clients, sometimes I see, not even sometimes, all the time, I see their map and their path. Like I see their future, but I don't know when. You know what I'm saying? So I have that gift of seeing, and I see in gaps. So it's really the culmination of all of those things that I can look back and go, oh my gosh, that was it. The universe was always creating for me. I just didn't know it in that moment. Right. Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be linear, but I needed each of those lessons to be where I am today.
Yeah.
That's a long-winded story for you.
No, that's powerful. Thank you so much, Camille.
Yeah.
As we wrap up for the day, I want to make sure that everyone knows how to reach out to you, that they know how to get in touch with you. I know that you are going to be providing some links for us to post in the comments as well. But I have to say, this conversation has just felt so aligned with professional goals, personal goals. I just really appreciate everything you've shared today. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. For those listening, you can explore Camille's work through the Soul Professional Movement, the Global Soul Professional Networking, and an upcoming show, which we didn't talk about. You have an upcoming show, right?
Oh, I do. We haven't announced it, but I'm happy to announce it here.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I can edit that out because I was like, oh my gosh, we totally did not talk about it. Did you want to talk about it?
Yeah, we'll talk about it because we're about to release it. We're good. Because we just figured out the name. I couldn't decide on the name, and I'm like, I know it's coming. So part of the Soul Professional Movement is I have this absolute knowing again. This is where the show's coming from. There needs to be global conversations. There needs to be conversations happening that don't answer questions, but open the portal for what's possible. So I've asked 2 other people that I've worked with, Adam Guzman Poole and Adam Dickinson. He's actually the FBI guy that I told you about, who was a client of mine. And I've asked his logical mind to come in. And I said, am I supposed to do this with co-hosts and just start exploring like the science and the metaphysical and just start to have these conversations? So that will come out. I don't know when we're going to release it. We're starting to record in January. Of the show, and it's going to be called the Soul Professional Global Conversations. We were trying to think of all of these ways to do it, and we've decided that that's what it's going to be. We have a tagline. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it really fast. The Soul Professional Global Conversations series, where curiosity leads, consciousness expands, and science meets soul.
Ooh.
All right. You heard it here first, people.
I love that.
Yeah,
I am so excited.
Thank you. So
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You are welcome. Yeah, I'm so excited about it. And I've been doing so that's like yesterday, a lot of when I said like I just sat, I never showered, made soup. I was literally researching different angles of the show and what we wanted. And yeah, I'm bubbling with what this could be.
And that's what we want for everyone we work with, right? To bubble with excitement for the possibilities.
Yeah. Because I don't know what will come
Absolutely.
out of it, but I know it's going to be something big. It'll premiere on YouTube. It'll also be on Spotify and all of your stuff. But
that's amazing.
Thank you.
You're also a 3-time best-selling author. We see the books in the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Working on number 4.
Working on number 4. So you're going to provide us some links to projects and some other websites that you're going to be sharing. Is there anything specifically that you want our listeners to make sure they click on?
If any of this resonates, I would encourage or invite your listeners to come check us out at soulprofessional.com. We have free networking, which is not like traditional networking. We call them global gatherings.
Okay.
So we have our global gatherings. I do a Wisdom to Wealth series that's free, also on YouTube. And my own soul circle, where I'm trying to figure out my own curious exploration of the spiritual world and how it dovetails. And I share that with anyone who feels like showing up. So they're welcome to join us if it feels in alignment.
I love that. I love that. So for everyone listening, as Camille just shared, if this episode gave you permission to slow down, if it invited you to think about anything differently, reach out to her. We'll make sure that you have all of her information. And I hope that you carry anything that this felt for you today, carry that with you forward. I'm Megan Fucciarelli. Until next time, keep leading with heart, choosing collaboration over competition, and amplifying authenticity in everything you build. Thank you so much for listening.